Welcome to Lifestyle Alchemy. I'm Sydney, medical astrologer, energetic alchemist, and transformation expert. In this podcast, I share what I'm actually living and learning. Sometimes that's decoding my birth chart. Sometimes it's rewiring and regulating my nervous system. Sometimes it's just real talk about what's working and what's not. This show goes beyond astrology. You'll hear about health and wellness, mindset and energy work, manifestation, spirituality, and all the things that help us actually embody who we're meant to be. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to Lifestyle Alchemy. How are you guys doing? I want to make a little announcement because I realized last week in the episode, I did put it in the show notes, but I had forgotten to mention it in the episode. So I am actually running a little sale on my medical astrology health blueprint reports because I have not really been talking about them at all, either on social media or on the podcast. And so, I just wanted to mention that if that's something that you've been thinking about, but it has potentially been a little bit cost prohibitive, they are $111 off right now. So there are also, payment plans offered through Afterpay and Klarna. And so there's just multiple ways you can pay. If that is something that you've been interested in and you really want like a deep dive, not just into your chart from like a personality perspective, although that is also very valuable and interesting. I love to use astrology for like character traits and personality and motivation and communication and all of that. That isn't so much what you're going to get from a health blueprint with me. It's definitely going to be much more in depth about like your health patterns, the root causes behind why you may have certain diagnoses, or just maybe it's not diagnosed, but it's just something that you're experiencing symptom wise, or, hormone imbalances, just all kinds of things like that. We can just get really, really into the nitty gritty, and it is so wildly accurate. Like, it is not just like, well, maybe because blah, 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 you might be. No, it's not like that. It is like so pinpoint. This is why, this is what you need to do. Here's a protocol, a 90-day protocol. And it's not like this crazy unrealistic protocol that you would never be able to follow anyway, because it's so strict. Like, I purposely give very practical, attainable protocols, which even the word protocol kind of sounds like very clinical and very like potentially intimidating, of like, okay, well, protocol, it sounds so serious, and I just use that word because that is the word that is typically used within like the healthcare practitioner space or the medical space. But really, it's just a plan. It's just a plan. It's a blueprint. It's a schedule, if you will. Whatever word feels best to you, use that. If protocol sounds too weird. And so I just wanted to bring that, back to the forefront and let you know that I'm running a little spring equinox sale, and, I don't know how long I'm going to run it for, but probably at least for another week or two, but I would definitely jump on it so that you can get your report sooner than later. I'm excited to do some reports for you guys. I love doing it. It's a lot of work, but it is super fun and rewarding and fulfilling to me, especially whenever I hear back from clients and they're just like absolutely mind blown. And I think like, even though, I have a lot of information about what to expect and like what you're going to receive on the sales page, I think people still are just amazed whenever they get their report and they're just like, oh my God, I didn't realize it was going to be this in depth or this in detail. Like, I feel so seen. How did you know all of this just from looking at my chart? And like, truly, that is medical astrology. It is so crazy, honestly. It still blows my mind, just with how accurate my own stuff is, let alone everyone else too. So I actually was able to, this was really cool. Someone who used to be more of like a mentor type person to me. I took a lot of her courses. I was in mentorship containers with her. I listened to her podcast and everything. And now we actually live in the same place. Well, she's in Phoenix and I'm in Tempe, but basically the same. And now we are just friends. So, that's been kind of a cool progression, but I was able to do a report for her and she didn't have anything like really major going on. Like there were some thyroid things and like just a few, like gene mutations, like the MTHFR gene, like stuff like that. But it wasn't like she had any like major diagnoses or anything. And I did a report for her and she was like, she literally she sent me a text, which I have that, like, I think it's listed as a testimonial on the sales page if you want to go read it verbatim. But she was saying, like, literally this report is the most valuable thing that she invested in all year, which this was in 2025. This was in late 2025, like right around Thanksgiving. And she was like, I literally made like 5-figure investments into other like courses, masterminds, mentorships, whatever it was that she did. And this, this, few $100 product is the most valuable thing I invested in all year. And I just was like, holy shit, like that's huge. And, that was such a massive compliment. So, such a massive testimony. So anyway, I might do an episode soon, just kind of going through whether it's my own blueprint or whether it's somebody else who I don't know. I've been kind of thinking about doing a podcast episode where I'm kind of just like walking you through the different sections in the blueprint report and kind of telling you of course, in kind of like an outline, short form way, what I talk about, like what is the information and the guidance that I give in the report. And the reason why I say like outline, short form way is because the reports, some of them are upwards of 100 pages long. So obviously I can't like go through every single thing, but I can give you a good idea of what is offered, and what I talk about in the reports, what kind of information am I giving? So that's something, maybe if that's something that you'd like to listen to, keep your eyes and ears out for that. But today I want to talk about the secret lives of Mormon wives. I'm just kidding. That's not all we're going to talk about, but the episode today is like loosely inspired by that absolutely crazy show. I'm going to get a sip of water really quick. Just stand by. Okay, I just ate lunch, and sometimes whenever I just eat lunch, I like forget. I'm just not real great about hydrating, to be so for real with you. I 100% am just chronically kind of underhydrated. I don't know if I would say completely dehydrated, but just underhydrated. And so I was just like, okay, I need to get a little sip of water. So anyway, okay. Have you guys watched the most recent season? I believe it's season 4 of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Even though I feel like they need to change the name because now it's definitely not just the wives. I feel like we're getting so much dad talk content, which I feel like I've seen a lot of people post videos about how they're not loving that. They're like, why are we seeing all these dad talk? Like, I don't give a fuck about the dad talk people. Especially like Jordan and Dakota, like just extremely problematic dudes. But anyway, okay, so I love the show. I mean, yes, it is a crazy reality show. Is it all real? Who knows? I don't know. That's not what we're debating today. So I just watched the whole entire season within, I don't know, a 3 or 4 day span. And while I have a lot of specific thoughts and how I could sit here and just kind of pick apart certain things and like dissect certain things from like a psychological or spiritual perspective, that's not what I'm going to do today. What I've really been thinking about, both through like watching that season and thinking about how Taylor, is about to be the Bachelorette and all of the drama that has come out about that, and how like the spoilers, which I'm not going to say any spoilers in this episode, don't worry, but I do know how, like I read the Reality Steve spoilers. I know how it ends, and we already know that she I guess allegedly, or maybe we know for sure that she got arrested after filming The Bachelorette for, I guess, physically assaulting Dakota. It's just a huge thing. So through watching the season 4 of Secret Lives, and then thinking about how, like, just kind of the behavior that's going on, even though she was going to go and be the Bachelorette, and also just thinking about other instances more like in my personal life of people that I know, it's just got me thinking. And so what I want to talk about today, which obviously you already kind of have an idea because you saw the title of this podcast, but I want to talk about probably the biggest way that I get like ditch shame or get rid of shame, eradicate. I like that word better. How I like eradicate shame and at the same time boost my self-confidence and how much I feel how much I respect myself, how much I just like have integrity with myself and with other people. And so I want to talk about that. And I want to kind of talk a little bit about integrity, which we're going to talk a lot about integrity today. But I want to talk about, so a lot of times when we think about the word integrity, I feel like, and I could be wrong about, like, maybe you don't agree with this, but I feel like we often, when we think about like what it means to have integrity, we think about it more from the lens of like, with other people, like, oh, I'm having integrity with other people, versus like what it actually means to also be in integrity with yourself. Like, it's not just a relational word. It is also very much like an internal. You can have internal integrity and you can have external integrity. You can have integrity with yourself and integrity with anyone else that you have relationships with or acquaintanceships with. And so that's what I want to talk about both today, because they can be separate and sometimes they can be completely exclusive of each other. Like, sometimes in order to have integrity with other people, you actually end up breaking integrity with yourself. And I'm going to talk about that as well, where that can actually, being so tied to having integrity with someone else, you might actually abandon yourself, which then of course means that you are not having an integrity with yourself. So, okay, I'm going to give you the juice. Like, we're going to get into all of this, but I want to give you just like the Sidney summary, like one sentence of what I mean. And don't worry, I'm going to give examples. I'm going to do all the long-winded shit that I always do. But if I had to shorten this episode into like one bullet point of how to ditch shame and boost your self-respect and confidence, here's what I would say. Don't be a messy little bitch. Okay. And like, yes, I know that is harsh. That sounds like tough love. And that is just sometimes what you're going to get from me. And that's just what it is. So if you don't like that, maybe this isn't the podcast for you. But okay, don't be a messy bitch. Okay. Here's the thing. So if you don't have to have watched The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Like if you've watched any reality show, you see people, both men and women, all genders, you see people acting in ways that are quite honestly crazy, despicable, completely out of integrity, oftentimes very dishonest, very two-faced. Okay. You see them doing that in any show, but like, I'm just most specifically talking about Secret Lives because it's just fresh on my brain. Okay. You see people acting in these ways, and then you see them having to deal with the consequences of their actions because, you know, as sure as the day is long, they're going to get called out, you know, like they're going to say something in their little interview, or they're going to make a comment to the wrong person, tell a secret to the wrong person. And then that is going to get repeated, and then it's going to get all around, or they're going to see the footage, or, you know, whatever the situation is, it is going to get around. It is going to come back to bite them, and they're going to have to deal with it. And that's, of course, what we're seeing. If you watched specifically the finale of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, you see what kind of actions Taylor was participating in, if you will, literally the night before she was supposed to leave for LA to go and to start her bachelorette journey. So we see what she was doing. And I can tell you what she wasn't doing was thinking ahead, was thinking about how she was going to have to deal with this, how she was going to have to answer for her behavior. And she certainly wasn't thinking of how her actions and her choices were potentially going to make whoever she might have ended up with, like if she were to end up with someone from The Bachelorette, how that person was inevitably going to either watch the show or just somehow find out, maybe from social media, because like really you don't even have to watch shows now. You can just get on social media and see what everyone else is saying about them, and you can pretty much piece together exactly what happened. You know, she wasn't thinking ahead. She was not actually having integrity, not externally or internally. So her actions were very much not in integrity, in accordance with the guys that she was going to meet on The Bachelorette. They weren't in integrity with her friendships, or the people who she was meeting at the airport to go with her to LA, because she ended up missing her flight. They were not in integrity with herself, because just the toxic situation that exists between her and Dakota. And I'm going to try not to like just get too specific, just because I don't want you, if you don't watch that show, I don't want you to feel like, okay, I don't know, I'm lost, I don't know what you're talking about. But that is messy behavior, okay? And I feel like messy behavior is getting so incredibly normalized because we love a good reality show. And yeah, I'm one of them. I love a good reality show. However, I feel like I can also very much recognize like what is probably not real versus what is real, and just what is like something that nobody should ever really be doing in their real life. But I don't know that everyone is doing that. You know, I don't know that everyone is able to kind of have that discernment. And it very much seems like a lot of us are out here just like acting in ways that we're just so out of integrity. We are then, because we are doing these things that we know deep down are really not good for us. We're going against our intuition. We're going against everything that we know is like a, you know, either a good decision or a bad decision. We are going against a lot of us, like our family and friends who truly do love us and want the best for us, going against like what they're saying. Like if everyone in your family and friends is saying, don't get back with that guy, guess what? He's probably not a fucking good guy or girl. You know, it's like, you don't want to listen to your family and friends about everything. Like, maybe don't go to them for like business advice if that's not something that they could really adequately speak about. But if everyone in your life is like, no, that guy is so bad for you, like he is so unhealthy, he is so toxic, probably they're right. You know, probably they're right. And so a lot of us are doing these things that are very much, you know, we're doing them in the dark, hoping that they don't come into light. And guess what? Things always do. Things always come to light. It might not be immediate. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But we're doing these things because we're just like not thinking ahead. We're having that instant gratification, whatever it may be. And then we're experiencing shame, because whenever people do find out, it's oftentimes embarrassing, and you get called out, you get backlash, you might get canceled depending on how, like, what your level of visibility is, how large your audience is. You might just have your friends and family really mad at you and you kind of get cut off from them. Whatever the consequence is, like, there is always a consequence. And then even if you're the only one, like, even if nobody ever finds out about it, but you just know that what you did was not of your highest good, it was not within integrity, it is very, very human to feel some level of shame. And shame is actually the lowest vibrational frequency emotion that you can feel. And so not only do you lower your frequency, lower your vibration, because now you're experiencing shame, and oftentimes you're actually holding that within your body. It's not something that you're just feeling for a temporary period of time and then it goes away. Like, it's something that you're actually holding on to, and it accumulates each time you do something that is outside of your highest good, that's outside of your highest path. And you are aware of that on some level. You know, even if you are stuck in like a self-sabotaging pattern, you are still aware on some level whenever you are doing something that is directly like negating what would be best for you, or what you know deep down you should not do, or that you should do, but you're just not doing it. So not only are you now experiencing that shame and that low frequency, and potentially holding it in your body, and it's could even be making you very physically ill, or even manifesting into something like an autoimmune disorder, you are also now losing self-respect. And therefore, if you don't respect yourself, you're going to be caught in a pattern of self-sabotage and low self-worth, low self-esteem. I don't deserve this. I don't deserve anything good. Why would anybody ever love me? I don't deserve to make this amount of money. I don't deserve to have the actually healthy relationship. I don't deserve to to have this kind of a job, or whatever, like whatever kind of bullshit story you start to tell yourself, because you don't respect yourself. Therefore, you're going to attract more people who also don't respect you or treat you the way that you should be treated. You are going to lose confidence. So you're just all over, that shame spiral sends you into the lack of self-respect, lack of self-worth, lack of self-confidence. And before we know it, you're just like repeating it. And we're seeing this with several different people on the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, but specifically with Taylor, we're just seeing just train wreck decision after train wreck decision. And we're just seeing such messy behavior. And just imagine how different it could feel. Obviously, what your life is probably very, very different from like what Taylor Frankie Paul is doing. I hope it's very different. I know mine is, it couldn't be more different, but in whatever scale and whatever topic that this may kind of bring up for you, whatever area you feel shame or maybe a lack of self-respect or confidence, maybe it's in the physical realm, like maybe it's within your food choices. Maybe you feel shame because you're like, I know that to be in integrity with myself and to be acting in accordance with my higher self, I would need to eat healthier food. Maybe I would need to eat a little bit less food. Maybe you're overeating or maybe you're undereating, and that is very out of integrity with your highest good. Whatever it is that you like, what your thing is. If it's a guy you keep going back to, if it's a guy you just keep, a situationship with that is not for your highest good, even though you're trying to manifest your like, soulmate relationship or whatever, but you still keep entertaining this other guy, or you are trying to quit. I don't know why vaping just came to my mind. Like, I've literally never vaped in my life, so I don't even know why that came to my mind. So maybe that's something that somebody that is eventually going to listen to this podcast needs to hear. Maybe that's something that you're telling yourself you're going to quit, and then you just keep doing it and doing it, and then you start to lose self-trust, you lose self-respect, you lose self-confidence, because you're starting to tell yourself this story of like, I cannot trust myself. I am not trustworthy. I do not keep my word. Not only do I not keep my word sometimes to other people, but I certainly don't keep my word to myself. So imagine if you didn't have to feel those things because you were just so wildly like conscious and intentional about only making decisions that are within integrity, both when it includes other people and when it just includes you, and no one's ever going to know about it. You're the only one that's ever going to know about it, because there are so many like little micro decisions that we make every single day that no one is ever going to know about. No one's going to see it. No one's going to hear about it unless you tell them. But chances are, if you feel shame about it, you're not going to tell them anyway. There are so many micro decisions and micro actions and habits and little things that we do every single day that are so personal that no one is ever going to know. But if you are continuing down this path of being outside of integrity and doing things that like you hope never see the light of day, you are just compounding shame, the lowest frequency you can possibly have. And you are losing respect for yourself. You are losing that sense of high self-worth. And of course, you're not going to be confident. Like if by some miracle you're able to act like you're confident in certain situations, it's not going to be real. It's going to be fake, and people are going to feel that. And we can see that on social media all the time when people are posting, like maybe they're posting like all these selfies and all these like pictures, and you can feel an energetic difference when someone is truly like, I am that bitch, I am her, versus when someone is like doing it because they're in such a low self-worth, low self-confidence, self-image that they're posting it so that they can get like that mini little dopamine hit or that mini little high of people commenting and being like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. Like, oh, that outfit, your body. Oh my God. Like you can tell when people are doing it from an energy of lack and scarcity and like, I need these compliments to feed me and fill me up because I don't have it on my own. And when people are doing it just out of like, I felt really hot, and so I just like, well, I'm just gonna sit this right here. I'm just gonna post this little picture and put this here. And I'm not, and so you can tell a difference. Like energetically, it is a totally different frequency, a totally different signature that you can feel. So imagine if you just made decisions, and I know that like nothing is ever going to be perfect. We are all going to slip up here and there. We're all going to do things like, oops, I just like said something a little bit gossipy that like probably wasn't the best. And, so we clear, cancel, release, we clear the energy, we clear the karma and agreements, and we keep it moving. Okay. And then we just don't keep doing it again. So if we could just start to move through our lives in a way that we are not afraid of who might find out, like what I was saying about so and so, or kind of, okay, so here I'm trying to like simplify this a little bit. Here is my thing, I guess, my filter for this. Like, how do I know if what I'm doing or saying or just how I'm acting is within integrity, and it is in accordance with like my higher self and how I really truly want to present myself in the world? This is my lens. This is my filter that I kind of put everything through. Would I be okay with / would I be proud for people to know that I did this, said this, acted this way, bought this, whatever? Would I be wanting to hide it? And this is also something that I use in my romantic relationship. Like, this is how I judge like cheating, or whether it's obviously if it's physical, like that's very, very easy to detect if it's cheating, but like, because emotional cheating is very common. That's another thing that we heard talked about a lot on The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, with all the Demi stuff and the Jesse stuff too. Here is my lens, and I feel like if every fucking person, both male and female, would use this filter for their behavior, it would literally just like solve this whole problem. Here's the thing. If you don't want your partner to know about it, it's inappropriate. Don't do it. It's literally that simple. If you are having a conversation with somebody, whether it's text, whether it's on DMs, whether it's on Snapchat, if you're an adult, if you are a grown adult and you have Snapchat, like, I'm sorry, but what are you doing? Especially if you're a man. Anyway, it doesn't matter where the conversation is taking place, even if it's in person. If you would not be okay with your partner witnessing it, reading it, seeing a screenshot of it, having someone tell them about it, it's not appropriate. Don't do it. It's not within integrity. And you can use that same filter for everything else, within friendships, within your professional life, your workplace, within your family, within any kind of context. You can use it. Would I be okay? Like, would I want this behavior, this speech, this action, whatever, to be seen by other people? Or would I be so embarrassed and feeling shame and feeling like, oh no, like I know I can't trust myself, I can't respect myself because this is what I do. Like, whenever people aren't watching, or whenever I'm with this certain friend, I get really gossipy about the other friends in the friend group. And then I have to be constantly on guard, and like I'm always having this low key kind of anxiousness that I'm going to be found out, and that someone's going to repeat, like I'm going to say something to the wrong person, and then they're going to go and repeat it to this person. And then I'm going to like, do you understand how being a messy bitch is seriously making you have like spiral in these shame cycles? It is making you lose respect for yourself. Even if you are not conscious of it, like you still might be telling yourself this story that you don't care what anybody thinks, and I say whatever I want, and I would say it to anyone's face. Probably not. Okay. Most people do have a conscience. Even if you like to play like you're just so hard and it doesn't matter, I would say anything to anybody. No, you wouldn't. Okay. I just really don't think you would. Because even in these crazy ass shows like Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, they pop off and they like Taylor flips her shit on everyone and anyone. And then, the next morning she's got her tail tucked between her legs and she's apologizing and she's feeling shame, and she's feeling now, she says it, like she doesn't feel like she deserves a healthy relationship, or she doesn't feel like she deserves maybe the level of fame that she's gotten, or the level of success, or the title of leader of Mom Talk or whatever, because of her behavior, because she knows that her behavior is not within integrity, either to herself or to other people. Okay. And so here's the thing. Here's what I'm not saying. I am not saying that you need to be fake and that you need to self-sacrifice and self-abandon in order to keep your word to other people, or in order to just be like, to stay in integrity with other people. Because sometimes you are going to have to forego integrity with other people in order to keep integrity with yourself, between you and yourself. So here's an instance where this is like so small and so low stakes, okay? But here's an instance where I was noticing that I was slightly out of integrity with myself. And so here, I'll just tell you the story. So this weekend, this weekend, I'm going to Washington, D.C. for for an event. And it's not a political event, but it is an event that just happens to be held in the DC area. And I have a friend who is also going to be there, and she had reached out and she was like, hey, whenever on the day that you arrive, do you want to schedule some time to catch up? And I was like, initially I was like, yeah, that would work. I think that would work perfectly. And like my flight lands around 2:15. We have like a reception thing at like 5:30 or so. And so I was like, yes, perfect. And then the more time that passed, and now that I'm about to leave in a few days, I'm like, I started to feel a little bit low key anxious about like my flight leaves at 5 a.m. I'm going to be so tired, and therefore also I'm not going to get up at 2 a.m. or whatever and like take a shower and do my hair and do my makeup. So like I'm going to be wearing a hat. And whenever I get there, that means I'm going to need to take a shower, and I'm going to need to refresh and like get dressed and get ready and do my makeup. And I'm going to need to have time to be able to do that. And so I was starting to feel a little bit anxious and like a little bit of discord in what I had agreed with to catch up with my friend who I haven't seen in like a year. And what I know that I need to do to feel and perform my best at this event. And I'm not like literally performing. I just mean like to have the best energy, to be the best version of me. And so what I did was, instead of like just sacrificing myself and being like, oh my God, I don't want to take my word back. Like I want to keep my word to her, blah, 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 blah. I just texted her and was like, hey, I am so sorry, but I think that I've overestimated the amount of free time that I have on Sunday. Is there any other time during the week that you would be able to like hang out? And she was like, oh my God, yeah, like totally. So that, and I know like that's a totally like different kind of example than the kind of some of the other examples that I've been giving, like from the reality show stuff. But that's just like a very kind of real life example of how sometimes to keep integrity or to keep your word with other people, because keeping your word is very important. Like you need to be someone, if you want to be a highly respectable, like high value person, you do need to be known for keeping your word. You don't want to be known as someone who's like really flaky and wishy-washy and like who knows if you can trust what you say, because you're always changing it and you know you're always committing but then like backing out. You don't want to be known as that, and I certainly don't want to be known as that. However, sometimes you do need to just communicate and so that you can keep integrity with yourself and not be like having low grade anxiety all the way leading up to whatever it is. In this case for me, like I would have been having low grade anxiety thinking like, okay, how, like doing all the calculations in my head of like, okay, if I get there at this time and I get to the hotel from the airport at this time and then we hang out for this long, then I'll still have this much time. Like I don't want to fucking be doing that. That's taking me out of my like presence. That's taking me out out of my magic, my energy. I will not be able to be my best self if I'm constantly running numbers in my head. I don't want to be doing that. So I chose integrity with myself, and luckily it still works for her, and I'm still going to get to have the best of both worlds. But this can also be like in an instance of, I've talked about this before, like if you're someone who's dating, or maybe you're not like actively going on dates with people, but you are trying to manifest your, like you are intentionally manifesting your partner, like the person who's going to be like your highest level soulmate, your romantic relationship, and yet you are still acting like you're having a little hoe face, you know, like that is not congruent. That is not within integrity with yourself or with what you say you want and your future partner. And that's something that I truly believe, like I didn't do everything right whenever I was like dating. I had a couple instances where I wouldn't recommend it, but that was one thing that I will say I did so fucking well, was like be so clear with my words and my intentions. And the second that I knew that someone like wasn't it for me, or I knew that it would be a waste of my time or a waste of their time, or it would just be a casual thing because I knew it wasn't going anywhere, I like got out of there. And I didn't do it in like a hateful or like a prissy kind of way. Like I did it in a respectful, very clear and communicative way, so that I wasn't giving messy energy. I wasn't giving mixed signals. I wasn't doing anything that I would ever possibly feel shame about or embarrassment about if my future partner would have found out about it, or if I would have met him like in the midst of all of that, there would have been nothing messy about it. There would have been nothing confusing. I never had to go like and be like, oh, let me go clean some things up first. Like, let me go tie some loose ends first before I can like fully start this with you. Like my energy was clean. I was clear. My channels were clear. I was not like spreading myself in all these weird ways and like acting in ways that were not in congruence with what I said I wanted. And I think like that's a mistake. And this is obviously not a dating episode, but that's just a mistake that so many people, both men and women, but especially women, are making. Like you're saying that you want one thing, but your actions are totally sending a completely other signal, and oftentimes opposite signal, to the universe and to the field. Because guess what? We're not just manifesting like what we want. We're manifesting what we are, what we believe to be true, who we're actively being, what frequencies, what energies are we matching up to? Because if you are not, like, you can say you want something all day long. You can be like, I'm manifesting this all day long. But if your energy and your actions are not lining up and making you a match for that, it is not going to happen. You can be like, I'm manifesting my soulmate all day long. But if you're continuing to entertain your toxic ass situationship and you're talking to all these random guys that you know are not it for you, like on Instagram, just because you're like wanting to have this attention and you like it when they give you compliments or they take you out to a free meal or whatever, like, do you think that you are an energetic match for that like high level, like high value, high quality man? No, I'm sorry to say, but no, you're not. And he's going to pass on you probably. He's probably not going to be even like as attracted to you, maybe physically, but like not once he sees that like that's the kind of behavior. Like, I mean, that's something that I was very clear about when I was dating. Like, I was like, I know that my highest timeline soulmate would never be interested in a woman who was just like spreading her energy around to like different men just for like attention or just for like fun experiences. And that's okay if you're in a season where you're like, I'm just having fun. Like, cool. That's fine. If that is truly the season that you're in and that's all it is, good for you. Like, enjoy that truly. But don't at the same time be like, but also I want my soulmate to come in. If you know that you're just like, you're trying to just have all these casual like experiences with people, because the two don't go together. Okay. And I didn't realize I was going to go into like a whole dating thing on this episode, but it's just like, it really is all the same thing. It all comes back to, I promise you, whenever you just start to act and move through your life with integrity and kind of always knowing, like always acting and speaking and behaving in ways that you would be proud of, no matter who saw it, no matter who heard it, and like not in a performative way, not in a like, oh, I'm just like, is someone watching me? Like, I'm just going to do this because somebody might hear it. No, like it has to be real. Like you have to literally make it your identity. It has to be who you are. And you have to know yourself so fucking well to know like what is the best way to be in integrity with yourself. Like, what is the best way that you can honor yourself in how you speak, in how you act, in just how you present yourself as a human? Like, how do you want to present yourself? What is the essence that you want people to feel when they're with you? How do you want people to feel whenever you leave them? Whenever you are just spending time with them and then you say goodbye, you say goodnight, whatever. How do you want people to feel? What do you want people to remember about you? If someone were to hang out with you and then go hang out with someone else and they're telling that other person about their time with you, what would you want them to say? What kinds of adjectives, what description, what kinds of things would you want them to remember about how you made them feel, about how you carried yourself? What kind of language did you use? Were you super negative, or were you someone who like your energy just felt like so sparkly and like magnetic and powerful and fun and lighthearted and like humorous? What kinds of things would you want someone to say about you? And then you have to become that person, and you have to like make that work in every single area of your life in a way that like literally what you see is what you get. Like, it's not different people getting different versions of you. It is literally like, yes, of course, the deeper relationships in your life, like your romantic partner, or maybe your best friend, or, you know, like, of course, people are going to get different like levels of intimacy with you. That's normal. That's natural. Like, obviously, we're not going to be like in line at the grocery store giving them the same like level of intimacy with us as we would with a very, very close friend or like a family member or an intimate partner. But do you see what I'm saying? Like, you're not shape shifting. You're not code switching. You are literally this same person no matter where you are. And you're not having to worry about like, oh, wait, okay, what version of myself do I need to be with this person? Or like, how did I act last time when I was in this work situation? Or like, you're not doing that. Do you know how much energy that takes to like switch between different identities and like trying to remember like how you were last time, or like who you are with this group of friends, who you are at work, who you are on your podcast if you have one, who you are on social media, who you are with your friend, who you are with your family, who you are with your like, fuck that. You need to pick one. You need to pick your, like, not even just pick, but like, I mean, it is an element of picking, but it's also like tuning in with your soul frequency, your soul essence, and the highest version of that you have access to at this current time. And you need to just really, really, really tune into that and embody that in every single aspect of your life. And you will start to be making those decisions that are more in integrity, and those more conscious decisions to where you are feeling less shame. You are respecting yourself because you're like, I am who I say I am. I am who I think I am. And I do what I say I'm going to do. I have a high self-worth. Like, I know who I am. and I like who I am. I'm not constantly feeling ashamed of how I acted or what I said. I'm not constantly having to go behind myself and be like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that, or I'm sorry. You're not constantly having to make excuses for your behavior and how you were acting or how you were speaking and whenever you got caught, you know? And I truly think if everyone could just grasp this, if women, I mean, of course men too, but I speak to women. So if women could just understand this, if you just stopped acting in ways that you don't want to be found out about, do you understand how much of a weight would be lifted off of your shoulders? How much more love, respect, trust, confidence, admiration for your own self that you would be feeling? It's unreal. Literally, it's unreal. And it is just so drama free, and it is so just next level whenever you know that you're not out here acting in all these crazy ways that you have to be afraid that people might find out about, or that you have to be keeping secrets or keeping up with lies or trying to remember, which lie you told this person, which lie you told that person. You don't have to be code switching. You don't have to be remembering okay, which identity do I need to be in this situation? You don't have to do any of that because you know who the fuck you are, and you don't change between environments, situations, stories, any of that. You're just so unproblematic. You are what you see is what you get. And it doesn't mean that you have to be friends with everyone. It doesn't mean that you have to self-abandon in order to just say yes to everything, or it's none of that. It's literally about, yourself so well, you respect yourself so much, you love yourself so much that you don't even put yourself in situations where you would be really self-sacrificing, or you're not even having relationships with people that would cause you to potentially act in a way that is out of integrity or out of congruence with you and your true light and essence. Do you understand? So this is just really, it's been heavy on my mind. Of course, I also just watched the most recent season of Love is Blind. And of course, we always see there's always at least one couple who, whenever you think that they're okay with the person that they get engaged to, and then they go and they meet up with the group and they see the other people that they were dating, and then they're like, oh, actually the grass is greener, I'm actually more attracted to this other person. And then they end up having a shady little fucking conversation that apparently they think isn't being filmed and that we're not all going to see. And you see in this case, who was it? I think it was Bree had that conversation. Breezy had the conversation with Chris, and that she entertained that for way too long. Even though she said, I would never have, it was Connor or bust, I would have never looked at Chris and given him a second look or whatever. But it's you still entertained the conversation for too long. You still said things, you still betrayed your current partner by saying things and sharing things about your relationship that you should never have said to someone who clearly didn't want the best for your relationship based on what he was saying. So it's if we could just stop doing shit like that, stop being messy. You have to stop being so much in this instant gratification, lack of ability to see the bigger picture, see it from a higher perspective, see it from how am I going to feel in 24 plus hours whenever everyone else knows about this or the word spreads and now I'm going to be viewed a certain way. How are you acting? How are you going to feel about how you're acting in the future whenever it's found out, or even if it's never found out again, like if this is only a you thing, how are you going to feel about yourself depending on what decisions you make, what conversations you're having, what habits you're continuing? Okay, that's what I wanted to talk about today. There are literally so many different instances of this, so many different examples of this, and I hope that I've explained it in a way that you probably are already thinking like of all kinds of examples, just whether it's from your reality shows that you're watching or whether it's from friends or your own stuff. But here's my parting message to you. Just don't be a messy bitch, okay? The world needs less messy bitches. And that this is not at all going against my message last week of being in the villain era. Like, you can still be in your villain era and be 100% within integrity and respecting yourself and confident and, honoring yourself and not acting in crazy ways that you would be embarrassed if people were to find out about. Okay? So let's be in our villain eras, but let's not be messy bitches, okay? I love you guys so much. I will see you or talk to you next Thursday. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week.